we'll move on to a more positive note. Well, maybe not with this question, but Rob Finley again does ask, how do you feel the league has handled the COVID-19 pandemic and non-league football in general? So I think he's kind of referring to dealing with fixtures and how all that's been dealt. And I appreciate you'll have probably an opinion and one you're allowed to say. So answer that how you feel, right?
I think it's difficult to criticise anyone in this situation. It's so, considering the circumstances, it's unprecedented, isn't it? I think that that's been said so many times. There maybe could have been more guidance to leagues from the FA. The FA are the governing body. I think the NPL just wanted clubs to play football. That's what they wanted, and that's the same as clubs. We just wanted to be able to play football. So when we returned out of the second lockdown and we were in tiers, not literal tiers, or the tier system, and we could have fans and we were allowed to play, then that's what we did. Then when they changed the tiers and there was tier 4 or whatever, it became more difficult then, and I really don't know what the league could have done, because we wanted to play. We were allowed up to 400 fans and we just wanted to play. We just wanted to play football. Football means so much to our fans and to the area, and it's people need it. They need that social interaction, even though obviously we're still social distancing. You can still see people, you can still get out, you can still watch your football team, and I think that was important. As for non-league as a whole, I think what I've seen happening in the National League seems all a bit farcical, to be honest, with the starting the league with no fans because they were getting they got that grant funding, but that was only up till the end of the year, and now it's like all the rest of it's in loans, and they were, well, we didn't expect that, and everything that's going on there, and they're having all kinds of weird resolutions, and is the National League going to be treated different from National League North and South? And there's some clubs that simply can't continue, and there's clubs that are saying, well, we won't play, and so that that doesn't look great on non-league football. And we can just hope that there's some sort of resolution. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with our league yet. We just need some sort of resolution and to know what's going to happen so we can plan for the future.
And then Paul Tandy asks, what are the plans for the clubhouse? He says other clubs have gained substantial amounts of money from bar revenue in clubhouses, but ours is, I think he meant to say rarely used. He put rarely used, but I think he meant to say ours has rarely been used. So how do you respond to that?
Well, the when we got the pitch, so we hired the pitch out. So that pitch is hired out pretty much every night. The idea, and it was actually built into the business plan, was always to have the clubhouse open. So for the club to be open all the time, to have we've got BT Sports, to have that on, to have the bar open, to have the T bar open. Unfortunately, it didn't begin, and then obviously we weren't allowed to have the bar open anyway. So obviously that's not happened, but that's what we'd like to happen. I'd like to see the clubhouse become kind of like a sports bar. We were talking about before we went into lockdown about getting darts nights on there. So that's what we want to have. We want it to be like a sports bar, and whilst there's people there using the pitch, to have the whole thing open. So we want to do that anyway. We've also appointed a fundraising events manager, which is going to be Grace Mantova. So the idea is that we want at least one fundraising event per month. So whether that be a comedy night, a karaoke night, let's just have the bar open and have a party night, and anything like that. We want to do that at least once a month. We also want to hire out as a venue, weddings, christenings, birthday parties, whatever. The current layout of the clubhouse doesn't really lend itself to hosting events. We've got a big pillar in the middle of the room, so that needs looking at. We need to have a look at the space we've got and how we can best use that. But absolutely, using the clubhouse, making use of what we've got, is definitely something that we want to look into and sort out.
And just finally, Kel Hoos asked, what priority are the new board placing on developing the millbank to provide more shelter and terracing and generally upgrading the facility?
So what I want to do is I want to produce a club development plan. So that's going to look at priority areas for us to develop the club. You know, we'll look at areas like, I think I've already mentioned, you know, increasing the attendances. We want to look at commercial activity. You know, we look onto the commercial manager, and one of the other areas we're going to look at is developing the ground. We've just appointed a head of major projects, which is Paul Tandy. So he's going to basically manage that. There's going to be a team put together, which has already started to take place. So he's going to manage that. But we're going to, you know, a new stand at the Forest End, as Sam has christened it in his commentary, is going to be a priority. We also want to look at what the grading requirements for the divisions above, because obviously I think we need more seating, we need more covered areas. So that's going to be taken into account. You know, there's a fine balancing act, because these things aren't cheap. You know, putting in a new stand isn't going to be cheap. You can get funding for it. I think you get 70% funded from the Football Foundation, but you know, that 30% still needs finding from somewhere. The manager will want a good playing budget, so there's a fine balance to be struck there. But like, as I said, it goes back, that's why it's all interlinked, because then that goes back to, well, you increase your commercial activity, you increase your clubhouse usage, then you increase your income. And if you increase your income, then you can look at, right, okay, well, we'll increase the weekly staffing budget, playing budget by a bit, but we'll also earmark this for ground improvements. So that's what we're going to look at. But developing the stadium is a priority for us. We've long needed more cover at the far end, and terracing. We've got some a COVID grant which needs to be used for terracing. So we've got that bit of money in there, but there's no point having terracing if you then don't have a roof on it. So that, you know, but we've got that major projects team in place now. So they're going to be obviously working with me, and I'll come up with the development plan, and I'll say, right, there you go. In fact, I'm meeting with them on Saturday to have a walk around the ground, and obviously social distance to have a chat of what the priority areas are, and we'll go from there.